everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the London's Pretty Cool podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Patrick Briggs.
And I'm your other host, Aaron Briggs.
We have another fantastic guest with us today. This is another great episode that I think you guys are really going to find as Londoners to be super informative and something that I think you've been looking into for a long time. This is a guest that and really kind of a subject we've been asked to cover for quite a while. So we're very excited to have Carol. Oh my gosh, I've already forgotten how to say your last name, Carol. Carol Sceli, is that right?
That's right. Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely
Okay.
Perfect.
We have Carol Sceli here, who is the marketing excuse me, I'm going to start that over. I'm saying it all wrong now. We have Carol Sceli here, who is the Market Business Development Manager at the Western Fair Market. And we're going to talk about the Western Fair Market today. How are you doing today, Carol?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
Well, Carol, before we get into the Western Fair Market and its history and everything, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the role with your role at the Western Fair Market?
Absolutely. I'm fairly new to the market, and it's an accidental role I'm in. I've been going to the market since it opened, and felt free to knock on the operations manager's door and said, "Hey, you should do this and you should do that." And I had left my job before the pandemic to travel. Brilliant, right? And anyway, one day he said, there's a position open if you want to stop giving me advice and work here. So I said, you know what? Why not? It was completely different from my previous corporate role, and I love the market. So I talked to them and they hired me. I've been there since September, discovering something brand new every day about not only the market, but the Western Fair District and all the wonderful people that come there, and of course the people that shop there. So the role itself is to really bring vendors into the market that complement the mix that's already there, but also to help those businesses, and they're small businesses, 2, 3 people, some of them are micro businesses with just one person, grow. And one of the key projects I've had is to bring new faces in and talk about either supporting local or just trying something new, and also promoting the artist loft on the second floor, which a lot of people don't know is there. So we've had a lot of fun programming, bringing in community groups, and highlighting the vendors that are there and enjoying the people that come in and spend time at the market.
It's amazing to hear that you're bringing so many great vendors into the market. We're big fans of the Western Fair Market. I was actually just there this past weekend, so it's always a great spot to stop in, grab a cup of coffee, and walk around. But before we get too much into how great the market is now, do you know a little bit about the history of the Western Fair Market and how it got started?
I do. The market got started about 17 or 18 years ago. I don't know a lot, so I'm sure if someone's listening that can correct me, please do. And it was started by Dave Cook, who had a vision for a market in central London. And he really did the hard work building it out, growing the vendor base there. And we do have some original vendors from the first day it opened. And over time, it grew into a really vibrant first floor market. And eventually they opened the second floor to a variety of vendors. And it's evolved over time to bring that sort of eclectic mix of food, unique items, gifts, crafts, artisan wear, one-of-a-kind things, as well as community groups, and our very robust, if you were there on the weekend, busker population. So we love to support local music that way.
Mm-hmm.
So over that time, the building itself is almost 100 years old. We'll be celebrating 100 years in a couple of years, and very little has been done to change the building. So if you've been there, you can feel the history, and you can see the dust. It's a real live old building. It's crooked in places, and it's so well loved by the original group of vendors that started there, and of course the ones that are here today.
Was it originally the building? Was it something to do with the Western Fair as well, like with the racetrack? Is that right?
Yeah, well, Western Fair Association is an agricultural association. So it started like most um, associations, bringing together the farmers in the fall to really just celebrate, what they've grown, the livestock that they had, and bring people from really rural areas into an urban environment where they could meet, exchange ideas, look at new products, and have some fun. So much like the small fall fairs that surround, Southern Ontario, Ilderton, Luke, and Thorndale, all of those beautiful fairs, people will come and basically it's half sort of, rural roots where you see the biggest pumpkin, or you might see, the most corn cobs on one stalk. But ultimately, it was to bring together that group of people to have this fall fair. The building itself originally was called the Crystal Palace, and it burned to the ground in 1927, and they rebuilt it. Um, and that building has been used for, showcasing agriculture over the years. You're probably too young to remember the fair, but once upon a time, you would walk in there and see things, like wheat and or flowers, whatever people grew. And the other buildings around it would be used to show cattle or chickens, just bringing those livestock in to show and ultimately to sell. They would win prizes and everybody would have a great time.
Awesome. That's so cool. I had no idea that it had such a long-standing history as a market as well. That's
There's some
incredible.
great photographs, and the university has an archives of the original drawings of the building, photographs over the years. It's really fascinating. So, like we think of a trade show or a conference now where people go to either exchange ideas or goods. And when we were more rural and agriculture really did occupy a much greater workforce, and people grew up in the country or on a farm, they were coming there to look at new equipment, new ideas, fertilizer. At that point, there was an industrialization where people had tractors, and here's the newest plow, and they would share that technology and also have a great sense of community by coming together. And London was a big city. This is where you would come to experience that and do your business and again enjoy yourself. That's why one of our taglines is be entertained. There's it depends how you look at learning or what you experience in a fair. The buildings there's an arts building that's original right beside the market. Don't know if when you're there, if you ever go outside to Queen's Park, that building adjacent is one of the first buildings, and it's the original arts building in London. It's a gorgeous building. The raceway built up over time. And again, horse racing is agriculture. It supports a large workforce and represents millions of dollars to our economy. So that's one part of it. And now we've grown, we have a large agriplex, we have sportsplex. Of course, we have Gateway casinos there. And now we have the Grove, which, we keep expanding. It's a really vibrant 84 acres.
Really incredible what you're able to do with that space.
There's a lot of talented people there, a lot of knowledge there, and I learn something new every day. So it's sort of a dream job when you sort of quit your corporate gig and think, well, what should I do with my time? This is every day I learn something. Every day the market smells good. So I know it's Thursday because you can smell chocolate. I know it's Tuesday because they're making sauces at True Taco and you can smell all the spices. I know when Momo's is making granola. I mean, it's just, it's an amazing place. And then if you come on the weekend, of course, you've got all the smells together, and you've got that market experience when you shop.
Speaking of, you mentioned that it's running specifically on the weekends. You do get the luck of the draw getting to smell the smells throughout the week, but
Oh
you
yeah.
know, is that just like has that always been a standard to just have it run on the weekends and everything? And what do you see as the advantage and disadvantage of running it specifically on weekends?
That's a great question. Originally, it was open only on Saturdays. And when Western Fair took it over, they wanted to expand to Sundays. And that presented some challenges because of faith traditions. Some people didn't really want to work on a Sunday. So that took some time to make that change, and and build up enough traffic, customer traffic to sustain those small businesses. Saturday we're open from 8 till 3, and it's a big lift for those vendors to be ready for 8 o'clock Saturday morning. And it's hours of work. And Sunday from 10 till 2. So it's let people sleep in a little. I just completed a customer survey. You may have seen it, Aaron, if you were there, asking people, should we be open longer? Should we
Mhm.
be open another day? So when you take something traditional and try and change it a little, there's resistance, but there's also a little of curiosity. So would
Mhm.
people come if we were open on Friday? And what would that mean to the vendors? When they're bringing things that are cut and fresh, nothing's warehoused. It comes right in and is there for you. So when you buy fruit and vegetables, it's never been warehoused. It's fresh. It's going to last longer. But that business had to, get it there and make sure it was ready. So if we back that up a day, what's the impact to that business? So it's a really complex question. Yeah, we'd love to be open more. We'd love to program it more, but it's 100 small businesses that we would impact. So something like that would be done over time. I
Mhm.
suspect we'll increase our Sunday hours, maybe add an hour. We do the occasional night market during the holiday season, November, December. People can come in and enjoy the park at night, enjoy shopping a little longer, in November and December. We program in the summer. We have Park It at the Market in the summer with food trucks. This year we will go on a hiatus because of the construction. Um, but there is some additional days that we add, but they're not what I would call regular yet.
Mhm.
Personally, I like that it's just on the weekends because it really kind of forces you to go out there. Like I could say, like with other markets, like,
Yep.
oh, it's going to be open tomorrow. I'll go then, or I'll go like another time. You're like, nope, it's Saturday morning. We got to go, or else we're not going to ever get in there. It's like, okay, we got to go. And
Right,
then it
exactly.
feels like a whole community is all coming together at the same time, which is nice.
And being there, for several months, you can see that there's a pattern. We have, it's shocking, we have digital people counters, so we know who comes in what door and up the stairs so that we can analyze that as a data point. But on an average weekend, it's between, 6 and 8,000 people in
Wow.
Wow.
11 hours. And it never feels overcrowded.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You might feel like you definitely are around people, but when I first saw that, I didn't believe it. It's like, how can that be? I always get parked. I always feel comfortable. Um, but yeah, people come in. We have people that are I used to be one of them, the sort of dine and dash. I would get in so that I always got a baguette from Downey Street. They run out by noon. So you get in, you get what you need, and you get out. And then occasionally I would meet somebody and go upstairs and have a coffee, and that would extend my shopping experience. But for the most part, I was in and out. We have other people that come with their family and start with the coffee or breakfast and linger. And one or two of them will go do their hunting and gathering and come back to the group. Um, there's a lot more children and families there, um, who will spend time, and just enjoy the atmosphere of shopping in that environment. You're
Mhm.
not pushing a cart that separates you from the person in front of you. You really are in a community of people buying local food that they are, thinking about preparing and enjoying. So it's just a lovely experience.
For our listeners who maybe now have never been to the Western Fair Market and are hearing this and they're like, oh, this is something I definitely want to check out. And so they walk in, they can either go upstairs or go straight through. What do you suggest is the way to go if it's your first time there?
If it's your first time, I would really recommend that you walk the whole market. It's going to really be difficult because something will stop you and go, I need to stop and get this, whether it's a fritter or a brownie or a latte, and or, oh my God, I didn't know they sold all this fresh fish, or talk to a butcher about where things came from. They know where everything, what farm everything was, raised on. So I would wander around, maybe go upstairs, have a bit of a wander, but to start, just come in and look around. The vendors are friendly. They have regular customers and they love meeting new people. And you do get to have that personal exchange. So I would definitely recommend come early, come between 9 and 10. And that gives you a bit of time to sort of wander the market and enjoy it. You'll see the buskers playing. We have programming going on upstairs, so there might be something different. Check out our website or our Facebook page. We always let people know what's going on. And if you have questions, there's a market office on the second floor where I am or my colleagues are, and we're happy to take you on a tour. If you want to come, we'll walk you around. We have people who can't find things, so we're happy to go show them. But take your time, enjoy it, and let us know. We do have a really active group of Facebook followers who will interact with us and let us know what they think, whether it's extended hours over the holidays or they had a great experience, they'll upload a photo. We love all of that interaction. That engagement is critical to the success of the market.
What about the vendors? How are they chosen for the Western Fair market? And if someone's interested in becoming a vendor, how would they go about doing it?
Great question. So a lot of the vendors have been there for some time. So there's very little churn, on the main floor, which is primarily food. So, we have 14 bakers. You can get any variety of bakeries. The produce, you can get, certainly organic, local produce. You can talk to some of the growers. The butchers are there. They can tell you everything you need to know. And we also have cuisine that is considered international. Come and taste something from Ukraine or Nepal, East India, Brazil. There's lots of food choices there. But when we do select a vendor, basically it's to complement what's already there.
Mhm.
So we don't want to have 10 people selling the same thing necessarily, but we do want to complement it. And people do give us feedback. When they do, make inquiries on our website, which is themarketwfd.com, there's an application, and they can either call us and ask questions, or they can just fill out the application. Comes to myself and a colleague, and we look at it. It's very easy to fill it in, but that's the starting point. For the artisans on the second floor, most of them, will come and go. There's sort of a 3 to 4 year churn. They will move into a bricks and mortar, or some of them will retire. There's a space. We also have pop-ups. So if you are a jewelry maker, or we have people that make pickles, will come for a weekend in a pop-up station, and it's a very low cost, doesn't cost a lot of money, and you come in just for the weekend and give it a try. So that's part of the encouragement as well, to see, do I have a viable market? Do people like my products? Whether you're a quilter or a knitter, whatever the case may be, wellness products. We have a lot of different people that will come use a pop-up as that kind of startup incubator, as it were, to see, maybe I should get a space here, a permanent space. But it all starts with an application on our website, and we do read every single one. We currently have a waiting list, but if people are interested, they should try. And I encourage the pop-up model, if you are an artisan, to come and give it a try, sell what you make, and we also have a community booth. So community groups are encouraged, and we don't charge them anything to use our community space to communicate their message. We've had, recently the London Folk Music and Art Festival, and they were doing a volunteer drive. After COVID, a lot of organizations are starved for volunteers. So we provide that space. And again, in a vibrant area with that 6,000 to 8,000 people a weekend can see. It's a great opportunity for an artisan or a vendor, but everything starts with that. Fill in the application or give us a call.
Mhm.
There's great vendors there, so you guys are choosing correctly, in my opinion.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. That was one of our survey questions. What don't we have that you'd like to see? And we really believe it is London's market. We were recently voted London's best for the 10th year in a row. We're super proud of that. We
Right.
won a platinum in community votes. So we were, high-fiving each other, and it's everybody's win. And when I say everybody, even our grounds team, if you come on a snowy Saturday, that parking lot is immaculate. They're up all night doing that. So it's a safe place to be. It's easy to get to. There's a little bit of a construction issue at the moment, but plan ahead and you'll find us. But I love to hear that you think we've got the right vendor mix. That's great to hear.
Another great thing that I saw, especially this weekend, was like you had mentioned, the buskers. There were quite a few buskers and some great groups that fully in with instruments. It's not just the normal guitar and singer in all of them.
Yeah.
How and why did you guys kind of decide to have buskers there? Why do you think it's important to have the buskers, and how can someone become a busker?
All great questions. So really, historically, I think the way it started was a busker approach or a musician approach and said, hey, can I open my guitar case and play here? And for a vendor, some of them in the early days hired them to sort of, draw attention to their space, which is super clever marketing. And over time, they had to sort of structure it. So we actually have busker stations so that, there's a schedule. They let us know weekly. We send out an email who's available. They sign up. We post the schedule. So there's, I think, 7 or 8 busking stations, and they rotate throughout the market. So everyone has an equal opportunity in a high traffic area and we don't charge them anything for the space, but they make money. It is revenue generating for several of the buskers, and worthwhile for them. And if you've been at the market, you'll notice we're encouraging some younger ones who come with a parent and play with a parent, or you'll see a parent standing back a little bit. And again, the busker application is on our website. So, there's with all of these applications, I want to say there's a code of conduct as well. So any vendor, busker, or anyone that's coming in, we do expect people to, sustain and maintain our code of conduct, which is really treating people fairly, making sure it's a safe space, and all of those great things. But there's an application on the website if you want to be a busker. Super simple. And we love new buskers. One of the interesting things when I talked to them when I first started was they were super isolated during COVID. So when you really isolate an artist, it is incredibly challenging for them to thrive. So when I talked to them about their COVID story and being isolated, and I think of London as a music city, there was this big gap in my head. It's like really not servicing them that well. So, we talked about how can we improve? What can we do to help them? And that's when I approached the London Folk Music and Art Festival and said, look, my ultimate goal is to have a sing-along. Bring your guitar to the market or whatever instrument, and upstairs in Seasoned, everybody sing along or play along with a host. That was really hard to pull off. So, but what I have been able to do is bring in the folk festival, let them highlight and showcase their festival. They're in their 53rd year, and COVID has certainly impacted them. To do a membership drive, to do an outreach to artisans and vendors if they want to showcase their products during the folk and the music and art festival in the summer. And also we've got an open stage with an open mic where people can sign up. A few of our buskers have done that, and we've had other people come in, and it just creates that sense of community. Some of it's really good, some of it's really interesting, and some of it is, oh boy, your aunt's going to love this. But again, it's part of that whole community that we embrace and encourage.
It's always great to hear some music when you're wandering around,
Absolutely.
checking out some cool things.
Absolutely.
I never got the opportunity to busk at that specific market. I've done it at the Covent Garden Market when I was younger, but it's part of my soul. Busking is
Oh,
it's
you've
just
got to sign up.
yeah, it's a very big part of me. So yeah, you're right. I should sign up sometime. I should do that.
Absolutely. And you don't have to commit to the whole day. So we have some people that will come for 1 hour. They'll sign up for a slot for 1 hour, or I'm free from 10 till noon, or they just like Sundays. It's really flexible, and it's sort of first come, first serve. Whoever replies quickest to my colleague Dan, basically he writes their name, gives them the slot that they want and the location, and that's how it operates. And again, there's no charge. And you're welcome to keep, and you do make money, and which we think is great. It's like, and that money isn't really, you can't go buy a car, but it's validation for those artists who are performing, whether it's original music or whether you're, playing, some Gordon Lightfoot. It doesn't matter. It's an enjoyable experience, and we really do encourage it.
What about Park It at the Market? Could you tell us about this event and a little bit? Yeah, just tell us a bit more. I'm not even sure. What is Park It at the Market?
Park It at the Market, a few years ago, a few of the food truck vendors were looking for a venue, sort of park. They were building up their business, and midweek was really difficult for them. And London is sort of a suburb kind of place, right? So they approached the market and said, hey, can we, basically circle the wagons here and let people know we're here? And that's how it started. And over time, it grew where the market would program it. So we have various artists. It could be face painting, sidewalk chalk. We open it up to artisans so that they can have a table and sell their jewelry or candles or soap or whatever it happens to be, and food. So the key is the food trucks come, and it changes every week. We let everybody know. There is a bit of a beer garden to it, and it's right on Queen's Park, which is a hidden gem. A lot of people don't know how fabulous the park is. It's a city park adjacent to the market. It's got a splash pad, beautiful walking park, and it's also an area where we grow sort of indigenous plants and educate people. But the Park-It, and then over time, London Music got involved. So they provide a band every week. And it's weather dependent, but it's Wednesdays, basically for the summer, end of May through September. This year, as I said, there will be no Park-It because of the construction, but generally speaking, it is a great way to spend an evening in the park with your family. You can have your choice of whatever is there, and there's some awesome food trucks in London, and it gives them a chance to make a living on a otherwise quiet Wednesday night. It gives musicians an opportunity to get paid to perform in front of basically a picnicking crowd. The park is full of picnic tables. and people can just enjoy some family time. You can drive or ride your bike. And then occasionally, 3 or 4 times through the summer, there's a cruise night where people bring in classic cars. And it's an amazing event to have a community of classic car lovers and owners bring their cars and sort of circle them around the park, and people can go and have a look and talk to each other and admire these beautiful vehicles all on a beautiful summer day. And they go from about 4:30 to 8:30. So people are home and time to go to bed and get to work the next day.
It's such a great, it's too bad that it's not happening this summer because it is such a fun little time. Like I remember I used to work around there and I came one time and just like brought my book. I got some food and I just kind of lied down in the grass and I read while a great musician was playing. I forget who it was at this time, but it was just so nice to just be outside and in a park in the middle of the city. It's always
And,
great.
and it's such a hidden gem. There's beautiful trees. We lost a few trees because of the rapid transit expansion. The city will replant. And it was a difficult decision to cancel. But the access to the market, if you've been there, you've seen it, it's going to be really challenging to pull trucks in there. And it's very dusty. That construction grit floats everywhere. So we'd rather than do it badly and let these people down, we're going to wait a year. And again, this is how they make their income. So we want to make sure we offer the best environment for them to have that opportunity to make a living doing what they do, selling great food. It's authentic, generally well made and really high quality food trucks we have in London. So yeah, next year we'll do it with a big bang.
And we'll be there with bells and
Awesome.
whistles. We've been hearing a lot that the big part of the market is really helping these small businesses kind of grow and become what they are. And like what we've seen, there's so many success stories that have come out from just starting at the market. For
Yeah.
example, somewhat like Soft Flirt has been on our podcast, and she was started at the market and now has grown to this amazing online business, as well as the Fritter Shop, who they're still there, but they've started there and now they've expanded out to
Yeah.
multiple locations. Why do you think that the Western Fair Market is such a great place for up and coming business owners?
Well, there's a few reasons, but the first reason, in speaking strictly about business, we've removed a few barriers to entry. The first one is it's very affordable. So we don't charge high rent. So they can pay for their space quite affordably with low risk, and focus on their business. So in some other spaces, you have to be there, staff it for multiple days. You have to, pay a higher rent, pay all your utilities, and at the market, you just pay a flat rate for your rent. And you don't have to worry about that. We have a great maintenance staff, so the building is maintained. So we're removing that barrier. So there is an economic barrier for a lot of small businesses to start up and have that customer base built in. So if you're coming to the market, you already know there's people there, and the people are coming. So, you can market your business in a low friction kind of environment and focus on how do I grow? And the best way to grow your business is to A, have a great product, and B, ask your customers what they think. So they're getting feedback. If you look at something like Momo's, they're eating the food right there. He knows, I want more water buffalo, or can you get goat? London's ethnicity is broad, and it brings these, I won't call it a requirement, but a real wish list to what a small business can do. And that's true also for the artisans upstairs. So a barrier to entry for an artist or an artisan is the cost of the space. So for some markets, they have to be open so many days. It's not possible because a lot of those artisans will have a day job in order to offset or invest in the materials in order to start up that business. And they're the micro businesses. They're the single point of failure. It's I'm the artist, I'm the salesperson, I'm the merchandiser, I do my, my own taxes. So really micro business. For some of the businesses downstairs, when you walk through the door, the first thing you'll see is Turner's. He has a lot of young people working for him because he wants people to be served really rapidly. That's, and feel that that they're getting the best service possible. So they can grow, bit by bit. And if you look at some of those vendors, they have multiple booths. Some started like Momo's, he started with a table at the door. And now he's expanded to, this huge space, catering. He's supplying grocery stores with, the dumplings. They're delicious. And just a really amazing guy who's teaching English to new Canadians, whether they're Ukrainian or Asian. Any woman that can make a dumpling, or man, they'll hire. So the sense of community there, they know how hard it is to be that small business. But we try and remove barriers for their success. We help get people in the door. They have to market their own business. That is their responsibility. But we brainstorm on how can we, do some vertical marketing. What if we just talk about vegetables this week, or talk about, meat, or just plant-based foods, and help those vendors work together so that they've created a sense of community, vendor to vendor. And there is a huge sense of community. They watch out for each other and help each other. If there's a problem, you've got not a colleague, but it's almost like co-opetition. They're there for each other. And that also is another barrier removed. You're not alone. You can ask people what works, or you can, just have a look and see. So that's what makes it so unique, I think, for a small business. The opportunity is there if you've got the right product, you staff it properly, and you establish those relationships. I'm sure if you shop there, you've talked to a vendor or asked a question, and they'll answer you. They'll tell you exactly what you want to know, or they'll guide you in the right direction. Some of them will give you a sample and say, try it, which is also great. So I think that we help remove those barriers. We've also helped people leave where it wasn't the right model. So saying, look, you don't want to drain your savings. You need to take a step back. So we try and coach, we're cheerleaders for sure. So before they come in, we vet them and make sure that they're ready to be at the market, but then we start removing those barriers.
Do you have a personal favorite success story that has come out of the market?
Oh boy, there's so many. Honestly, I don't know if I could narrow it down.
What about top five?
Well, what I love to see is when a vendor brings their children to work with them, and they're seeing, okay, my parents work hard, right? So and they'll wander around and work in another shop booth, just to give them a break. But certainly, Yam is a favorite with Momo's. I see, all of the produce vendors take part in a program called Harvest Dollars, which helps, people, they're given out to people in need, and they can spend them at the market on fresh produce, who are treated with the utmost dignity, and they can come in and shop. To me, the programming that we do within the market is the true success story, and the cooperation and goodwill of the vendors is amazing. And being a shopper, I thought I knew a lot about the market. And then when I started to work there, every day there's something new that you learn. And success can be as simple as I made it up the stairs, because someone may have, we do have some mobility challenged vendors. And that's a big win. And others who are just tiny little startups who go from a small little pop-up, who eventually end up in a booth space, who eventually end up with staff. That I love as well. And it's a combination of passion and just plain hard work. Um, but success comes in many forms at the market.
Great
Absolutely.
politically correct answer. Didn't have
Thank
to
you.
use anyone.
I do my best because really, I could go on about any one of them. This could be something we talk about an hour a day, and I would still have more to say
Mhm.
about how amazing the vendors are. And that's really why I do it. You're there. I don't want to work on a weekend. I quit my corporate gig to travel and just chill. But now I'm working Saturdays and Sundays, and for some reason I don't mind. In my previous role, that would have been really inconvenient, and probably I would have come in late on Monday. But it's everybody's got something great and great ideas. Book and Red and Roses, who has the bookstore, is now doing a story time. We've got a little music shop. He's now doing music with them at the end of that. It's just really engaging. The Color Me Ink Boys are some of my favorite, four brothers, under 12 entrepreneurs. And they just delight me every single time I see them. They're so professional and just they have this twinkle. So it makes me happy. I pass a food vendor who's experimenting and says, try this. Well, they're my favorite today, so it's a great place to work.
That does sound like fun.
Yeah.
Is there anything, speaking of, is there anything fun or exciting coming up for the market this year that our listeners should know about?
Well, we are doing the music series with the London Folk Music and Art Group. That's we're doing that through June, once a month through June. So you should definitely come with whatever instrument you play and do the open mic. Bring your friends and get engaged. We've got the Grand Theater coming regularly to showcase and engage people in what's going on at the Grand. So the goal is to elevate, educate, and encourage, So we just recently finished the survey asking people what do they want to see. So we try and do something. In April, the big thing will be Earth Day. So we'll have Hutton House doing a display of their growing towers, the wormery and the cool things they're doing there to change how we think about fertilizer and organic waste. We divert 100% of our organic waste on that 84 acres, 100%. So it's a huge success story. So that's going to be a big deal. In May, over Mother's Day weekend, we're going to be working with Reforest London to do our tree giveaway and also educate people on soil health. So we'll be, watch our website and our Facebook page, for those special events. But there's always something happening, where we try and engage the community. We're doing a milk bag drive right now, where they can make basically temporary beds out of recycled milk bags. And the market is a great place for the community to collect and do something, whether it's, just donating used materials, go to a good cause. So, I'm looking forward to construction being over. But again, every weekend there's something happening, whether it's buskers or one of our community groups or some education series with growing chefs will be there over the summer doing their fun programs with young people. So that's always, great to participate in. So there's a lot going on at the market.
It's a great time to get down to the market. This episodes come out on Fridays, so if you're listening, be sure to check out the market this weekend when you're out and about. But Carol, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today. We do have some London questions coming up, just as we are London's Pretty Cool podcast. But before we get into those, is there anything else that you want our listeners to know about the Western Fair Market, like location? I know you already went over the days and times, but maybe just a last little
Sure.
plug for everything.
Absolutely. We're in the core of the city, Old East Village, which is also vibrant and fabulous. But we're in the Western Fair District. It's 900 King Street. We're open Saturday, 8 till 3, Sunday, 10 till 2. If you haven't been there in a while, come and rediscover the market. It changes and evolves, and we welcome you back. If you've never been, make sure you stop by the office, let us know, and we'll be your host. We'll show you around, or just wander yourself. But we thank everyone for supporting local. The vendors rely on it. They work hard to make sure people get a quality product so they come back, and just have a great time while you're there. Grab a coffee, listen to the buskers, and tell your friends.
Yes. Get out there.
Yes.
Get out there, enjoy London, and enjoy local. London is a great city, and we're growing, and discover the best of London. It's not that hard, it's not that far, and people are really friendly here. Come and enjoy that too.
Agreed.
All
And
right.
thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been a few months that I've worked there, but again, it's a great place to be. The people that work there are amazing, and you're always welcome.
Well, your passion really speaks through, like, just hearing you talk about the market, you can tell that something you're very passionate about. And even though you've been there for not as long, but it's still, you know so much about it. And it was great talking to you and learning so much about the market as well.
Great. Well, if you're at the market, stop by the office and say hello. We'd love to say hi in person.
Yes.
Yes, give
Will
us the
do.
full tour that involves the free samples. I want that tour. That's my tour.
It's the random sample. All right, take care. Thanks very much.
We'll just
Oh,
wait.
oh,
We go
oh,
into we have a few London questions that we want to ask you
Okay.
before we end.
Oh, gotcha.
Our London's pretty, so we have about 4 questions about London, and then we end off with a little game, a little quick fire. So
Exciting.
the first one before is always the hardest one that our guests find is, what do you think is your favorite place to eat in London?
Wow. I'm not going to say at my desk, but it's tempting. My favorite place to eat, honestly, really and truly, my favorite place to eat is the Run Club. They have the best patio, and the food comes from Fellini's, and it's local. So the Run Club patio is my favorite place to eat. Too bad it's snowing.
mm,
I know. Yeah.
ridiculous. What about a London small business that you couldn't live without?
Wow. Well, I will tell you from recent experience, small business. I don't know if it's a small business, but M&T Printing Group does all our printing, and they have been so great to us. In my SOS mode with the construction, we find out one day and the next day I need to sign. They have been absolutely fabulous to help us get that messaging and those signs out so that our shoppers can be here. And I've asked more than once, so I feel like they don't want me to walk through the door or email them, but they have been absolutely fabulous. And that's the location near the market on Rectory. So they are my favorite small business at the moment.
What about your favorite neighborhood, as we are the city of neighborhoods?
Well, I'm a big fan of the one I live in, which is Woodfield. But here's the thing, rediscover London. There's some really cool areas that I'd forgotten about how great Byron was. Or Old South I love because it's such a walkable little neighborhood. But I would have to say my favorite is Woodfield.
What about a hidden gem? I know you mentioned one earlier, but what's a hidden gem in the city? That could be a person, place, or thing.
Gosh, you guys make it hard. A hidden gem. There is some little Mexican restaurant in a strip mall on Springbank that is called, I think it's called the Mexican taqueria. They grind their own flour and make fresh tacos there. And they make the best ingredients, the best I've ever tasted. And he's such a colorful gentleman. And it's in this tiny little plaza by Giant Tiger. You would never know it was there. But I think I've eaten lunch there, and he would serve us during COVID on the sidewalk 6 or 7 times, at least once a month.
Wow, that sounds
Hidden gem.
really, really good.
I told him if he, gets licensed, I might come more often for a margarita. But the best fresh smoothies and great fresh food.
That sounds amazing. I am into that. All right, well, it is time for our final game. This is a rapid fire round. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to present you with a bunch of option A or Bs, and you're going to have to pick one as quick as possible, and we'll just keep running through. Okay?
Okay.
I think that makes sense. The way I've explained it, this is my first time trying the A or B system to, explanation. All right, but this is the game. It's our classic. It's called This
Or
That.
that.
Oh God, I love it. I love it already.
All right, cool. So starting off, this will give you a good idea of how we're doing it. So as fast as you can think with your answers here, Highland Cinema or Mustang Drive-In?
Ooh, Mustang Drive-In.
Grooves Records or Odyssey Records?
I'm gonna have to say that.
Masonville Mall or White Oaks Mall?
Ooh, White Oaks.
Locomotive Cafe or Sidetrack Cafe?
Ooh, Locomotive.
Springbank Park or Gibbons Park?
Gibbons Park.
Fanshawe College or Western University?
Ooh, Fanshawe, I think.
What about Wortley Village or Old East Village?
Old East Village.
London Brewing Co-op or Anderson Craft Ales?
Ooh, I think I'll say Anderson Craft Ales.
What about attending a sports game, Knights game or a Majors game?
Majors.
Brown and Dixon or City Lights?
City Lights.
How about biking our Thames Valley Parkway or hike one of our environmentally significant areas?
Biking.
Black Walnut or Asmara Coffee?
Oh, Black Walnut.
Powerhouse or Stormstade?
Powerhouse.
Richmond Row or Dundas Place?
Richmond Row.
And last, Harris Park or Victoria Park?
I'm gonna have to say Victoria Park, since it's my little neighbor here.
Amazing, Carol. That was you may have done that better than anybody's ever done before.
Yeah.
Was there a speed round? A speed round? Well, that was awesome. I could do that again.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Some people get hit with some of those questions and they go, I can't answer this. I can't. I refuse, some of these, this or that. It's so funny.
Well, I don't think anyone will hold it against me. So unless you don't know me, I try and be a cheerleader for everyone, but if you make me pick, I will.
Yeah. That's what we need in this game.
That's right. That's the right attitude.
Absolutely. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. So are you.
Carol, you're awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time. Like Aaron was saying, we really appreciate we really appreciate it.
Hey, I'm Carol, Market Business Development Manager. Big title, it just means cheerleader at Western Fair Market. And you're listening to London's Pretty Cool podcast with Patrick and Aaron.